encounter here is break loose. That's the first exercise. So we have this, that creature still frightens me, Dan. How can you be sure it isn't ready to break loose again? All right. So break loose means to escape or become free. It's a phrasal verb. Let's practice it. It's very common, very useful thing to know. Okay, so if I give you a sentence like, John became free of his internet addiction. Okay, it's used a lot with things like addiction because you have to escape an addiction. How can we change that sentence using break loose? John broke loose from his internet addiction. So when we said John became free, we had to use the preposition of. John became free of his internet addiction. But when you use break loose, you have to use the preposition from. John broke loose from. He broke loose from his internet addiction. From his. He broke loose from his internet addiction. Let's make a how question with that sentence. How? How did he? How did he? How did he? How did he break loose? How did he break loose from his internet addiction? From his internet addiction? From his internet addiction? How did he break loose from his internet addiction? How did he break loose from his internet addiction? How did he break loose from his internet addiction? Here's the answer. By finding healthier activities. He broke loose from his internet addiction by finding healthier activities. He broke loose from his internet addiction by finding healthier activities. Oh, let's try another example. The prisoners escaped from jail. The prisoners escaped from jail. We can use break loose because break loose means escape. But we have to use the preposition from. The prisoners broke loose from the jail. The prisoners broke loose from the jail. Let's make a how question. How? How did they? How did they? How did they break loose? How did they break loose from? How did they break loose from the jail? How did they break loose from the jail? Here's the answer. By running very fast. Hey, I don't have to be that creative. I'm just giving you examples of break loose. They broke loose from the jail by running very fast. They broke loose from the jail by running. They broke loose from the jail by running very fast. Let's try one more example using break loose. Mary, and this is another way that you use break loose all the time, and that's why I chose this. Mary broke loose. Mary left a very bad relationship. So she was in a relationship, but it wasn't a very good or healthy relationship. So Mary left a very bad relationship, and we can use break loose here. Kind of gives the meaning of escaped. I think it wasn't easy to get out of this, but she did. She broke loose from. She broke loose from a very bad relationship. She broke loose from a very bad relationship. Let's make a how question. How? How did she? How did she break? How did she break loose from? How did she break loose from a very bad relationship? Here's the answer. By being very brave. So she broke loose from a bad relationship by being very brave. She broke loose from a very bad relationship by being very brave. Okay, and now I think that you should understand this idea of break loose a little bit better. It's a good phrasal verb to know. It's used quite a bit in bad situations. And maybe this now makes more sense. The creature still frightens me, Dan. How can you be sure it isn't ready to break loose again, escape again, run away again? That's breaking loose. Okay. Now let's